Okay, so I'm doing a slide on defensive driving for a traffic citation. If you receive a traffic citation from an officer and it's a moving violation, like ran a red light or stop sign, um, you can request defensive driving for that. I've been doing JP Court for 6 years, and I know a bit about how to request defensive driving and the options that are available to you. I do have other slides for warrants, how to take care of warrants, and ticket dismissal. But for this one, it's strictly for defensive driving. Qualifications for defensive driving is you must have a valid license. It cannot be expired or invalid. You must have insurance with your name listed on it as the insured or driver. It does not matter what car you were pulled over in, if it was your mom's car, brother's car. As long as you have an insurance policy with your name listed as the insured or driver, you can use that policy to get defensive driving. You're required to pay court costs. Court costs is not the fine. It's always lesser than the fine. So make sure that if you request it online, that you're paying the court costs, not the fine. Because if you accidentally pay the fine, the court usually will not reverse that, and then it's a judgment against you. You cannot request defensive driving if your speed was 95 miles per hour or more. That's prior to your court date. All of these cannot be requested prior to your court date. You will have to go to court to speak to the prosecutor for a special exception. Speed greater than 25 miles per hour over the posted limit, you cannot do prior to your court date. You can't request if you completed the class in the last 12 years. Policy and a state requirement is that you cannot do defensive driving more than once in a 12-month period. So if your last citation was less than 12 months ago, you cannot request defensive driving. Or if your citation was less than 12 months ago that you did the defensive driving for, then you cannot request defensive driving. It is 12 months, 12 months. So 12 months from completion date to completion date, and 12 months from offense date to offense date. If there was an accident involved, you cannot request defensive driving prior to your court date. You'll have to go to court and get a special exception from the prosecutor or the DA. Failure to stop for a loading or unloading school bus, they're really strict about that. The fine on that alone is over $1,000, so they will not allow you to request defensive driving prior to your court date for that offense. And a lot of times when you go to court for that offense, they're not going to give it to you. So you may want to look for other options on that. No CDL license. They're very strict on CDL licenses. So on those, on moving violations, no defensive driving, no deferred. A lot of people plead not guilty and request a trial for those. If you're in a construction zone, no. And no out-of-state licenses. You have to have the state license of which you're requesting defensive driving for. Where can you go? Now, you can take the class anywhere that it's approved by the state that you're in. So online classes, a lot of people do those because it's a 6-hour course. A lot of people don't have time to sit there for 6 hours. Online courses allow you to stop and start it whenever you get ready. Luncheons, you can take those. They feed you. It's awesome. Classroom settings, kind of boring to me, but you can do those. The average online course is $25. The luncheons are a little bit more. Classroom settings are around $25 too, I believe. But the luncheons do cost more because they are feeding you. Your driving record, you must order that. It is a requirement. You can't get around it. Now, you can either order it, and it's online from the DPS office. They have an online system. You can go online and order it. It is $12 if you do that. Make sure there's a printer attached to your computer because it's going to upload on your computer screen, and then you're going to print it out. So print out more than one for yourself and one for the court. If you mail the form in, it is $10, and of course it takes longer to receive it back. So most people go online. Notarized affidavit. This basically states you haven't completed the class in the last 12 months. If you request defensive driving at the court, then they will do it for you for free. But if you have to mail it in, you can go to your bank. The court will give you the form, but take it to your bank to have it notarized. And they usually will do it for free. Now, if you're out of compliance, if you do not take the class within the 90-day period, if your driving record shows that you've completed the class in less than a year for another ticket, your driving record is ineligible, is saying that it's invalid, like expired or suspended, or incorrect information on your certificate of completion, you're out of compliance. And they're going to issue a fine of $200, and it's going to go on your driving record. That is the minus on defensive driving. So please try and make sure you stay in compliance. I hope this video has been very helpful to you, and good luck on your ticket.